What's happening? Welcome, Amp Capo here, Black Adonis Games. Do you own Superhero Flight Component? I'm sure you've seen it around if you saw the Superman video that was out a while back. This is the tool that they're using to accomplish the Superman video. It's called Superhero Flight Component. It's amazing. And it does all kinds of great things. If you own this and you own LYRA starter game, which is free to download, then I got a surprise for you guys, man. I've been telling people for a while I was going to do this, and I'm going to go ahead and show you guys how to merge Superhero Flight Component with LYRA starter game. All right. Before we get started, I want to thank all the people who have subscribed since the last video, man. We're over 1,000 now, about 1,020, 1,025, somewhere in that area. I appreciate every single one of you guys, man. I really do. I really do. You can also see down that I've added a link to the Cash App for those that have been asking me about supporting. A lot of people have been asking me about how they can support my work and support what I'm doing with the game. Anything you guys send, guys, $1, $2, all of it will be helpful. I'm trying to get into a new rig, get out of this GTX technology and get into some RTX technology. I'm going for the 4070 Ti. I believe that's what I'm going to end up getting, unless I can raise enough money with you guys' help as well and get maybe get a 4080 or 4090. 4080 would be good enough. 4090 is just really expensive. 4080 I've been finding for a decent deal. So anyway, guys, let's go ahead and get into this. If you like the content, like and subscribe, and make sure you tell a friend. All right. So the first thing we're going to want to do, guys, is we're going to want to go into our Superhero Flight Component folder here, and you're going to want to migrate this Superhero Flight Component folder. All right. It should grab the dependencies pretty quick. You definitely don't want anything but the game. So this is all we want to migrate is the game folder. Go ahead and select OK. And I am doing this in 5.0.3, guys, but you can do this in any version that supports the content. It'll work all the way up to 5.3. All right. So what we're going to do now is we're going to go ahead, and I need to actually get to the folder with my project in it. All right. And here we go. And we're going to look for our LYRA starter game Superhero. All right, so this is what we're going to be working on. Actually, no. I got a different one. Wait a minute. Here we go. It's the one that says LYRA Superhero, because the P didn't get in there for some reason. All right, so we're going to go ahead, go to our LYRA starter game project, and you just want to hit the content folder, and then you want to go ahead and migrate this over. It should migrate pretty quick. It's not that large of a file setup. All right, so we're going to go ahead, and now with that in mind, we really don't need this anymore. We can go ahead and actually close this. All right, so now what we want to do is open our actual LYRA starter game project. All right. And while this is opening, you guys are going to see I got a new splash screen. Using this in all my projects and tutorials and stuff now, so that's nice to have that customized. Like looking at my own logo in the engine load up. It's pretty dope. All right, so the next thing that we're gonna do is this is gonna open. It shouldn't take that long. This is a fresh copy of LYRA starter game. But the first thing we're going to want to do here is we want to actually change this to the gym so that we can actually see what's going on. So let's go to project settings, and we are going to go to maps and modes, and we're just going to change this to gym. All right. And it's going to take it a little second because it's actually loading up the assets in the background there so that you can hurry up and open that. So now we're going to go ahead, and that's fine. The next thing I want to do is we want to go to shooter core content, and you might want to add that to your favorites because we're going to be working in that a little bit. And in here, we want to go to the bot, and we want to go to the bot spawner. Okay, and then in this bot spawner, we literally just want to set this to spawn like 0 bots because we don't want any bots in the way while we're doing this. All right. And then another thing that I'm going to recommend, guys, is after we turn the bots off, I'm going to recommend that you go here to your floor, and we don't need to expand the navigation bounds. We just want to expand this actual surface so that we have something to actually see while we're flying, because the surface is so small. So just make it 1,000 for each one, and it should be big enough. All right. And then after that, what we're going to do is I provided you with a little file. You should see it in the description. What we're going to do is go to the project settings, and we're just going to import the input file. So you'll go here and you'll notice in LYRA, because it uses the enhanced input system, that it doesn't use these at all, which frees them to be used by the superhero flight component, because it does use regular input mappings and axes mapping. So we're just going to import that file that I provided for you guys. Mine I have on the desktop here. And so actually I can probably just get that from the same file that you guys are using. So I'll just go ahead and use that one. It should be the SHFC input. So what we're going to do is go ahead and open that, and then you should see these arrows. Now when you click them, you'll see your inputs here. The reason why I provided you with the files, because there are some clashing inputs on the original file, and it will cause your LYRA starter game to crash every time you press play. If you do not use the setup that I'm giving you, you're going to have a problem figuring it out, because I did until I finally did figure it out. So there we go. So now that you got those inputs in, the next thing we're going to want to do, and this is just based on knowledge from doing this over and over again, is you're going to want to go to your physics, and you want to go down to your materials. You want to add a material for sand and one for water, because the superhero flight component uses these two surface types. That way you won't have any issues with that. All right. The next thing you want to do is you want to go into your superhero flight component folder, and what I'm going to do also is put that in the favorites, because we're going to be working with that one as well. And you want to go to where the characters are under the blueprints folder and character. If you're using UE4, I guess you can do this with the UE4 character. I'm going to do it with the UE5 character. This is LYRA, so everything should be UE5 based. All right, so what we're going to do basically is open this BP player, and let's just wait on that to open. All right, and then inside the player, what we're going to want to do is we want to go to the mesh and find the skeleton by double clicking on the mesh. All right, once we got the skeleton here, we're just going to browse to that asset actually. So I just browse, press browse, and we want to delete this skeleton. All right. And then you want to replace the references with the SK mannequin from your character heroes mannequin meshes. So this would be in your characters folder of your LYRA project. All right. So you just want to press replace references, and it's going to ask you, are you sure? And yes, we are sure. So it's going to take a little second, and it's going to ask you to save all the assets, and then it's going to go ahead and replace that skeleton with the one from the LYRA starter game package. And a good way to test this, guys, to make sure that it actually works, is you could go in your mannequin folder, and then you could just click on your, and this will be under the actual characters for the LYRA starter game. And you could go to heroes and then go to mannequin, and then it should have all the animations here. When you go to the base blueprint, you should see your flight animations. Like if you type flight, spell it right. All right, and then you'll see here, see your mannequin now can use all of the superhero flight animations. All right. So that's how you know it works correctly. That's how you know you did it right. All right, and then the next thing that we're gonna want to do is we are going to open the anim BP base. So that's just going to be inside of the character heroes mannequin animations folder. And you want to open this up. All right. And we're going to move over to the anim graph. And if yours didn't open anim graph, just double click on anim graph, open it. And then the next thing we're going to do is we're going to right click here and we're just going to create a linked anim graph. All right. And it's right here. All right. So you want to create a linked anim graph. And then here on the linked anim graph, you get to choose what blueprint you want to use. This is how LYRA does all of its animations. It has one main base anim blueprint, and then it links the other animations through anim links. All right, so we're going to go ahead and we're going to look for our ABP player UE5, and we're just going to click that, and you're going to see that it's going to show up here in your linked anim graph. Also, I like to go fill the tag in. HFC for superhero flight component, and that should show up there so you know that that's the superhero flight component. All right, so now you want to double click on the linked anim graph and open it. And the reason why we're doing this, and I'm going to show you here, is that we don't have a way to get anything into this. We just have an output. We don't have an input. So we need to create the input for the anim graph. So you double click on it, it should open your actual ABP player UE5 superhero flight component graph. All right, and then we're going to do the same thing. We're going to want to go to the anim graph here. All right, and then right before the output pose, excuse me, before the output pose, we're going to do a blend poses by bool. All right, and then you put the blend poses by bool right behind this inertialization node, and we're just gonna go ahead and connect this. The true pose, you can go ahead and connect the inertialization node to the true pose. The false pose, what we're going to do is we're going to drag a line out, and we're just going to type in input, and then you have your input pose. All right, you can leave the blends and everything the same. It works fine. Now, the next thing we do is we want the bool. This is what's going to activate this input to start inputting the false pose, which will be the flight pose. So what we do is just come out of here, and then we're just going to type is flying. All right, and it says get is flying. That's exactly what you want right there. All right, so we're going to go ahead and compile, save that. All right, so after you do that, you should be able to now go back you'll see here that we have the anim base pose all connected. We're just going to go and actually connect this for the first time here. We're going to go ahead and connect this ABP linked anim graph, and I'm going to go ahead and comment it that this is the superhero SHFC linked anim graph. All right, so that way we know right where it is when we open this blueprint if we have to access it for any reason. All right, so now that we got that done, and that's already, guys, we're already up to step number 7. So we're getting there real fast. All right, now what we're going to do now is copy the we're going to go ahead and go to our actual player here for superhero flight component. So back to your blueprints, we're going to go to our character. We're going to open the character up here, and what we're going to do is we're going to move this input I'm gonna move this out of the way for now because we don't need that, and LYRA actually causes problems and clashing. When you aim, it makes your aim go in reverse. So when you press up, it goes down, and down it goes up. I haven't figured out why it's doing it. I've messed around with it, but haven't gotten anything out of it. So we're not gonna worry about that right now. What we're gonna do is we're gonna copy everything else. And I'm not using the mouse inputs or anything, but you can copy them anyway because we'll be adding them in later. Just right now, there's some clashing with controls. And I use a controller for most of my work anyway. I don't really work off keyboard and mouse. So I'm going to copy all of these. All right. And you are going to open your LYRA starter game character as well. Who we want is in the shooter core to go in and look for your hero character. All right. And we can go double click on the hero character. And what I did was I actually just made a new graph here, and we can just call this SHFC. You could call it whatever you want. It's just for superhero flight component. All right. And then I'm just going to Control V, and then it's going to say that you have some functions that couldn't be resolved. Just press confirm, do nothing. All right. We don't have the superhero flight component on the character yet. So now we're going to go ahead and copy that. That should resolve any of the superhero flight component errors. All right. So now we've added the superhero flight component. All right. And we've now we're copied the input graph. Okay. And then now we need to go ahead and copy the variables. So for this, we're going to go ahead, file, I'm going to do a save all. And for copying the variables, I'm going to go ahead and split these two guys up so this will be a lot easier. All right. So basically what we want to do is copy any of the variables that have to do with this character. So that's going to be this get movement mode function. So we just want to copy it, go to functions and paste it. You could put it under SUPERHERO. All right. And so those will all be under superhero. Then we also want to get the check movement mode function. We're going to copy that. We're going to put that in the superhero as well. All right. Then we want to get this check aiming input macro. We're going to copy that. And you want to paste that in macros. All right. And it'll say paste macro. All right. So that should be all of those. You can add a guide if you want to. We could go ahead and copy it in case you want to add that. Like I have it in mine where it does come on. I'll just put it over here in case you want to use it for the future. You could go ahead and use it. So we could go ahead and paste that variable, which is just going to be the HUD blueprint for the superhero flight component. All right. Now you're going to see here that it's going to give us a couple errors. We don't care about the input action errors, but the ones we do care about is this, like input direction. You just want to go ahead and create the variables that are missing. If you have any missing, just create them. All right, and you can see them here. And those are also variables that are here under input, you can see. So we're going to go ahead and copy those, and we'll copy and we will paste these variables. So we're going to go ahead and paste the first one, and then, oop, I didn't do that right. Let's do that again. You know what happened right there. So we have base turn rate. So let's copy, paste the variable. All right, and then we're going to just put these under input like they are in the original blueprint. So just change this default to input. All right, and then the axis F I created already, so I don't need to copy that one. Base look rate, let's copy, paste. And you're just going to do this for all these variables. All right, camera lookup, copy, paste variable. Axis F we need to go ahead and do axis R. And then we're going to do input direction. And is sprint button pressed. All right, and then you can see right now, let me go ahead and paste this, that I actually have 2 input directions. So it's because I already created it from in the blueprint. So we'll just take this one and move it up, put it in the input. So now you should have all the same inputs. You should have pretty much everything that's here. All right, now we go ahead and compile that. And now we just got to do our refresh these nodes that are having issues, and they all should pop just fine now that we have the variables in place. All right, and then we got a couple more. We got the falling. We want to refresh. Is there anything else? I think that might be it. Yeah, so that should be it. The inputs, I'm gonna be honest with you guys, I'm not, like I said, I'm not using the mouse inputs and stuff. So for me right now, I'm just gonna take these off. I don't like seeing errors, but I know why they're there, just for inputs that I don't have assigned. Some of these inputs are the ones that are clashing with the LYRA input system. So for now, I'm just disconnecting them until I figure it out sometime later. It works fine right now. So now that we have all of that copied into the hero, that character should be good to go. Once you copy all the variables, the next thing we want to do is we want to go ahead and copy the spring arm. Now in LYRA, they don't use a spring arm. They have blueprints to determine camera angles and things like that. But just to satisfy this blueprint, and I'm going to go ahead and attach to the camera, even though it's backwards, it's not going to do anything, but it just satisfies the blueprint because the blueprint is going to ask for spring arms to move things around. I'll do a different video on how I did my perspective change using a LYRA camera. But for now, guys, we're just going to get everything running so that you actually have the superhero in your system. All right. So the last thing we want to do here is we want to go back to the animation blueprint again that we had open earlier. We don't need this guy anymore, but we do need to get to our characters folder. Go ahead and add this to my favorites for now too. And we want to go back into our blueprints, and we'll just go ABP. And we want to go back to that base again. All right, and in the base, what you want to do is you want to add a default node. All right, and the reason you want to have this is so that the montages from the superhero flight component actually play. They need to have this default slot to play on. All right. And then you're going to add one more node. We're going to add another default slot. All right. Okay, but this time for the default slot, we're going to actually select up here in the slot name, we're going to select the dodge. All right. And you can see there's other ones in here. The dodge right now, guys, only works just going forward. It has something to do with movement input, and I'll figure it out, but I just haven't yet. I haven't really had time to mess with it. But once you have this in, this will allow for the default slot and the dodge animations to play. All right. So according to this, we've reached step number 12, which means we should be able to press play and we should be able to fly. All right. So we're going to go ahead and try it out. All right. All right, and we have our character here. If you double jump, there you go. And you know in my project that I have it hiding the weapon and all these other things, and those are things I can go into later. The main point of this was to get you guys to having the flight component in, but everything should work. All the different flight modes, the dash, As you can see, the camera angles are not changing at all, but that's because it has no way to control the camera inside a superhero flight component, but I can show you guys that in another video. That's going to be the end for this one. That was rather quick. I actually simplified the process by a lot. It was a lot at first, but I went back in and actually just went through doing the actual process a couple of times because I had forgotten how to do it. Just being honest, I had done it a couple months ago and I just keep it moving. So anyway, guys, there it is for you, man. If you got superhero flight component, congratulations. Now you do have it in your project. Like I said, for the little tidbits like hiding the weapon and other things, I'll go into those things later on. That's kind of interested in that aspect of getting those things happening. As you can see, when you do take off, the weapon kind of flips backwards in the character's hand. So kind of, it's not going to let you do good things like shoot in the air, at least not right now. I don't have mine set to shoot while I'm flying. So, but I'm sure it's very possible. It's very possible. Anyway, guys, I hope this helped a lot of people that were asking me about it over and over and over again. You finally got it. Like, subscribe, tell a friend. Like I said, man, if you want to support, man, hit the Cash App and let everybody else know what's going on, man. Amp Capo Black Adonis Games.